time to monetize another hobby.
One of the neat things about being a grown adult getting into the toy collecting side of Transformers is that there's a lot of different things you can be into. Old or new, big or small, cheap or upsettingly expensive. Although they're not all amazing, there is quality to be found in all corners if you're willing to look.
But saying that, the one I want to talk about today is a bit crap.
So this guy is called High Score 100, which is a terrible name, but it is in keeping with the other bots of his line, and somehow still better than his Decepticon repaint, Twitcher F451. Yes, it's probably a literary reference, you're very clever. High Score was from the Real Gear Robots line in 2007, and so, as well as being pretty small, he was technically part of the live-action movie universe, although the line was apparently designed to line up more with the Cybertron series of toys originally, which probably explains why, unlike a lot of movie characters, he has a face that you can tell what it is.
Although I've got to say that despite him being an Autobot, his face has a real Soundwave kind of vibe to it. Although maybe a sound wave that's been through a rock tumbler.
So he's a weird little cul-de-sac of a character, since this toy and the blurb on the back of his packaging that said he was really good at martial arts are basically all that exists of him. He's never had another toy, and as far as I can tell, he's never shown up in any show or comic. But again, that's not super unusual for this line. We're not dealing with, like, important legacy characters here.
High Score 100 is not a Starscream. He's not even a sizzle.
And what do we have with his toy? Well, he's a wide and squat chap with long arms and shorter legs, with the odd combination of lots of articulation, but all of it's a bit weird. For example, his knees can bend, but his knees are naturally in a bent position anyway, and every joint feels different, like there's no consistency anywhere, it just feels kind of bad. That combined with his awkward shape means that it's hard to find many poses he looks natural in, but you can find them, so if you want him on your shelf, he doesn't have to be standing bolt upright. You just have to accept that he's always going to have a little bit of a gorilla energy going on due to those massive forearms. And, as you might have been able to tell from the various bits on him and his name, High Score 100 turns into a teeny tiny controller for a games console. Given the time period, I assume it's vaguely based on an Xbox 360 pad, although it has the analog sticks positioned as if it's a PlayStation controller.
Completely ruining my immersion.
How you transform him is a thing. Mostly it's just splaying out his arms and then smushing his legs up into them. However, his head and shoulders are controlled by a neat automorph gimmick where you pull down this switch and one or both of his shoulders will fly across the room, since they were barely holding on when he was new anyway and a decade and a half has not improved matters. They also tend to pop off a lot when you're trying to wrestle the arms into any kind of pose. Or he's in the room and you sneeze. However, the controller does look pretty decent, even if the back's a bit shaky, but be honest, how often do you actually look at the back of your real-life controllers anyway? The buttons don't depress, but you can twirl the analog sticks if that's the thing you're into, although the ones on mine have always had totally different degrees of resistance, which has always bothered me in a way I can't quite describe.
So he's not great, but I find it hard to stay particularly mad at him. He's just supposed to be a little bloke who turns into a games controller, and he does that, and does it with a pretty unique robot mode. And the fact that a remarkable amount of your time with him will be spent looking under your desk for bits of his shoulder that fell off, well, that just adds to the charm, doesn't it?